This project, we will be analyzing the movie Remember the Titans. This movie was created by Annette Palacios, Jessica Rodriguez, Carolina Avila, Yesenia Mendiola, Alfredo Alanis, and Jose Castro.
Remember the Titans and history go hand in hand, especially when we take a look at the movie and see how it follows Brown versus the Board of Education, which ruled separate but equal is not constitutional. The movie starts off with integration, just like in Little Rock, Arkansas at Central High School in 1957, where the National Guard and local police had to escort 9 African American children that day to school, as well as keep protesters at bay. If we take a look between then and now, we have seen many changes, and public schools are more diverse and tend to not have any racial tensions. We no longer see people rioting and saying we do not want a certain race to attend the same school as us. Although segregation is not avid as it was back then, there is still some to a certain extent, and it's called de facto. But that is based on where we live, and because we tend to live around people that look like us, that is the segregation that happens now, because our school system is set up to where we live is where we attend school. So therefore, some of our schools, especially in inner cities, have the minority as a majority. I hope that future laws help defeat this, because I feel that our schools need to be more diverse to have our children be as educated as possible in other cultures.
Curriculum and instruction, in other words, what to teach and how to teach it, have long been an issue, if not a basis for serious discussion in the history of the U.S. and the education of its citizens. From the predominance of religious and moral teachings of our colonial past, to the contemporary core curriculum consisting of reading, writing, math, and sciences, it seems to be an everlasting, ever-changing issue. This begs the question that with a first world country that has been around something like 2.5 centuries, why is this still up for debate? Well, as any respectable public speaker, or for this instance, teacher, can discern, the answer is in the audience. That is to say, who are you teaching? In this debate or discussion, one must take into consideration the term diversity and its meaning with regards to education. In the movie Remember the Titans, one clear theme of diversity is shown throughout the movie, and that is diversity of race, color, or ethnicity. In my opinion, this affects the instruction or the way that you teach, not necessarily the curriculum or what you teach. In 1954, the Supreme Court ruled that separate was inherently unequal in the case of Brown versus Board of Education. This led to court-mandated integration, thus affecting the instruction. This is one of many cases that has led to federal intervention in public schooling, thus resulting in a change in curriculum and instruction, such as in federal legislation IDEA or Title IX.
Today, ethics has an important place in all areas of life. Education is also a fundamental process of human life. Therefore, in education, ethics has a very important and effective role. Ethics are a set of rules that tend to be adopted and upheld by a group of people. This could include medical ethics, journalism and advertising ethics, and educational ethics. So ethics or intent tends to be viewed as something upheld and adopted internally, such as professionalism, while morals are ideals we impose on others. Do you think teachers help students enough? Well, meeting the needs of students promotes better learning. Teachers work hard to make themselves available to their students. Many offer students in need multiple ways to contact them. Many arrive early and stay late. Others extend classroom time, and some teachers even provide home telephone numbers and emails. Do you think this poses a potential problem for teachers? However, requests for special treatment has become an ethical dilemma some teachers face when faced with repeated questions from certain students. Do you think teachers and students be friends? Teachers are able to structure their content and presentation methods when they have an understanding of their individual student and the way they live. For some teachers, this means being available to them as often as possible and sharing experiences. Moments that diminish the perception gap where students see teachers as out of their touch with their world. That promotes friendship. Befriending students is not a problem, but where does friendship end, and how does a teacher make sure he or she does not become friendlier with some students than others? Preferences are inevitable and can influence classroom behavior on the part of both teacher and student.
Ethics can be defined as a person's morals, how they classify right versus wrong. Throughout the movie, both the morals of the coaches and the players are revealed. For the players, getting a new coach upsets them and causes them to disrespect him even if they knew it was wrong. In the coach's case, he persevered and tried to discipline his players even when he was not liked. Disposition would be more of a person's way of thinking. Once again, in this case, the players were not open-minded with their new coach because of his race. As the movie progresses, both the ethics and dispositions begin to change through experiences. The players become more comfortable with their new coach and grow to like him. In the same way, a teacher's ethics and dispositions can change in an educational setting. They are important factors that can dictate the tempo of the classroom as well as how students progress. Furthermore, the teacher's actions will largely stem on their ethics and dispositions. Ethics and dispositions play a key role in creating a positive educational setting.
In the movie Remember the Titans focuses on the issue of segregation. The movie was taking place in Virginia, where a high school is desegregated until after 1971. The United States had passed a federal law that forces public schools to have integration. Now, the main thing that is brought up in the movie that corresponds with real life events is discrimination. In the movie, the students who were attending TC High School were all white. Now that the United States has passed the federal law, they're both whites and blacks. Many people, including students, teachers, parents, and staff, and the public, did not like the idea of integration. Now that integration had occurred, both blacks and whites had the opportunity to play in the football team at TC High School. In one of the scenes of the football scenes of the movie, showed that the teammates did not want to get along, and the Coach Boone forced them to pair up with someone who was a different race as that person. And this shows that he wants them to have a better communication, have a connection, and my guess would be that he wanted to create a connection within each team member, that way to create a strong team overall for them to play better, because I believe that he notices that if they do not have a connection, if they do not have respect with one another, they will fail as a team. This all shows that it can happen anywhere, and it's up to us teachers to notice these types of issues and address it in a formally manner. This movie gave us a taste on how it was in the 1970s, and it put a lot of pressure on the educator to try to make the right decision in hopes of making everyone united.
The main educational issues impacting teaching and learning, like previously discussed, was discrimination. Even though the court ruled the integration of African Americans in public schools, they were still treated very unfairly. Eventually, they all became united and were able to put aside their differences and become friends. So fortunately, this story had a happy ending. Overall, this movie really depicted the way African American students were treated when they went into white public schools. Many people thought less of them because of their skin color and failed to realize the many talents they had. Everyone deserves a free and appropriate public education, also known as FAPE. No one should be discriminated because of their skin color. Thank you so much for watching this presentation, and we hope you enjoy it.